Hi, I'm Donnelly Campbell with True Bliss Yoga. We're going on to the third installment of lawn chair yoga. So today we're going to work with the hips and the legs. So we'll start with the toes and the feet. So it's important to keep your feet flexible for lots of reasons. So spread your toes as wide as you can and scrunch them up. Flex the feet back at the ankles and then point them out and see if you can articulate through the arches. So it's like a big high heel in between, and then the toes move, and then you bring the toes back and then you flex the ankles. Just making sure you can get lots of movement in there as much as you can, and then make big circles with your ankles and go in the opposite direction. And then bend your knees, bring your feet under your knees. And we'll just start by warming up the hips a bit. So lift one knee up, but stay sitting up tall. And then bring the foot down and lift the other knee. So the idea here is to not let yourself slouch at all. Bring the shoulders back over the hips, open up across the front of the chest, and stay as tall as you can as you lift the knees. If you can lift the knee and then stretch the leg straight. Bring the leg in and down, up, stretch it straight, bring it in and down. And just do that a few times just to warm the legs up a little bit, getting some movement in the hips, in the knees. Don't worry if you can't lift them high, just lift them as high as you can. It's more important to sit up tall, so even if you have to have it down here near the floor, that's fine. And then stretch your right leg straight and come to the front of your chair. You want to feel your sitting bones down and bring your left elbow to your left knee. So we're going for a stretch in the back of the leg here in the hamstring. So make sure that you can feel your sitting bone on the edge of the chair and the chair isn't cutting into the back of your leg. And don't put your weight on that straight leg because that's what you want to stretch. So make sure the weight is on the bent leg and it's good and solid and you feel secure and stable here. And then coming forward as far as you can until you feel a stretch in the hamstring. Make sure you can keep your back nice and long so you're not slouching. Again, you're keeping the chest nice and wide, length through the front of the spine. And if you can come down farther, that's great. If not, that's great. Wherever you can feel the stretch and still breathe. If you can come all the way down onto the floor and even bring your head down to rest. And then come back up again, use your hand to help you, and do the other side. So stretch the left leg straight, put the weight on the right knee. Don't put the weight on that left leg. And then come forward, sitting bones stay down on the chair, coming forward just as far as you can until you feel the stretch in the back of that left leg. Now this you can do anywhere on any chair at any time. Hamstrings really important to keep them loose and supple. When the hamstrings are really tight, we tend to do a lot of the bending in the back and then we start to get problems with our back. So the more you can keep your spine long here and go for an arch in the lower back, or at least not a big rounding in the lower back. You want to keep your spine as long as you can. And then once it's as long as you can, then you can let the head go. Keeping the front of the leg as strong as you can. And then help yourself up with your hands again. Bring the right leg out and turn the toes out to the side, and then drag the leg out in that direction. And then turn the toes in and bring the leg back in. So toes lead the way. Feel an external rotation in the hip socket, and then when you bring the toes back in, you feel an internal rotation in the hip socket. It's really important to move in both directions. A lot of the time, hip openers are concentrated on opening the hips out, but it's also important to be able to go in both directions. We want to be mobile and not necessarily just open in one direction. And then bring that leg in and do the other side. So the toes turn out and then the leg comes out. Toes turn in and then the leg comes in. Make sure you can still feel the sitting bones down. Toes lead the way, external rotation on the way out, internal rotation on the way in. And then do the first side again, and this time if you can lift the foot up off the floor. Again, be careful not to slouch. If you need to, you can keep that heel down on the floor. Turning the foot out, bringing the leg out, turning the foot in, bringing the leg in. We'll do that a few times. If you need to rest, you rest. If you need to drop it down lower, you drop it down lower. Keep breathing and stay up as tall as you can. And it's okay to use your hands to help you sit tall. And then the other side, turn the toes out, bring the leg out, turn the toes in, bring the leg in. Keep breathing, sitting up as tall as you can. If you start to slouch, just catch yourself and try to sit up tall again. It takes a lot of strength in the core. And then bring the leg back down again. Now we'll go for a hip opener. So stretch their left leg out and bring your right ankle across that shin. Now if that hurts the knee at all, then keep that knee bent and flex the ankle here. So you want the ankle flexed at 90 degrees and the bottom of the foot turned away from your face. So you don't want to sickle or twist the ankle and look at the bottom of your foot, because then the knee twists. So keep that ankle at 90 degrees, keep the bottom of the foot turned away from you, and that stabilizes the knee. And then if you can't feel anything in your hips yet, then you can maybe bring the leg up a little higher above the knee, and you can start to bend that knee and bring it up even higher until you get it below the foot below the knee. Make sure you're sitting up tall. So if you're slouching back here, you're losing the stretch in the hips, so it's better to sit tall and have the legs straighter, or keeping up nice and tall, if you can have that knee bent underneath you. And then if you still need more, you can come forward. Make sure the whole pelvis is coming forward though, and you're not just coming forward at the waist. So the pelvis comes forward, you keep that arch in your lower back as much as you can. It might not be arched, but at least it's not rounding backwards. And then you come forward, and if you can bring the hands down, but that's pretty intense. So just go to where your hips will allow you to go to and still breathe. And these take time. Hips are a big ball and socket joint. They're designed to twist. They can take quite a bit of intensity, but there shouldn't be any intensity. There shouldn't be any pain at all in your knees. Use your breath to soften into it and take your time here. If you need to support this knee, you can support this knee. If there's any issues at all, just make sure that bottom leg isn't bent so much. And then come up and over to the other side. Again, start with the legs straight underneath you. Foot flexed, ankles at 90 degrees, and the bottom of the foot is turned away from you. If you can go more, you can bring it up. If you can go more, you start walking that foot underneath you. Knee comes out to the side, but watch that you don't sickle the ankle. Don't let it twist. Again, if you need more, come forward, bringing the hip bones with you. You can support that knee if you need to. You can come forward more if you need to. Use your exhales to soften and your inhales to lengthen your spine as much as you can, especially the front of the spine, bringing the heart forward, letting go of the resistance with each exhale. And then come back up. Namaste. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just make sure you're signed on to your account and make sure your notifications are turned on so you don't miss any of these. And if you like this video, please slam that like button. Thanks.